Hi, I'm Pony Nymph. Sorry it's been a while. My knack for overcomplicating things got the better of me, and you'll see why in this video. I'm continuing the Dalle Warrior Cats challenge. The original video by Vixel and my first video on this will be linked below. In my previous videos, I worked on the backstory after the designs were finished. In this video, I did the opposite. I knew what this cat reminded me of right off the bat, and I had some direction to start with in the design process. Because of this, I'm going to go more in-depth on my decision making for this character, and I'll only be showing one cat today. I'm hoping this helps anyone curious about world building and character development. Before we get started, I do want to give two warnings. Firstly, this is a speed draw. If you're sensitive to flashing lights or sped up footage, I recommend not watching. Second, the cat in this video has a life-altering injury, specifically spinal and more specifically paralyzing. So if that's something you don't want to hear about, I'll have specific chapters and timestamps for where I mention this. I do start off by mentioning it, so if you don't want the backstory, skip to here. When I first saw the AI image for this cat, I thought they were posing, but the way the back leg lays is really unnatural. It reminded me of a partially paralyzed animal dragging their legs behind them as they move. This got me thinking about how this cat would be handled with the Warriors authors. Heavily or even mildly injured characters in Warrior Cats are treated absolutely terribly. For the series literally being named Warriors, they don't give much credit to said warriors in the clans. When I was first getting into the series, I was eager to meet the battle-scarred veterans, with stories of heroism, lessons of pride and honor and sacrifice, scars with stories and scars with memories lost to time. I've only now realized that this never happened, which is extremely disappointing and frankly a massive letdown. If you're going to base a book series around fighting, the least you can do is show the repercussions of said battles. I knew this cat was going to fill that void that I missed out on in Warriors. In order for this to work, I need the surrounding clans to be at least as territorial as those in the books. Tensions are going to be high between neighbors, and border skirmishes are going to have to be fairly frequent for it to get to the degree of back injuries. I'd say the clans are getting desperate to win, having to keep stepping up their game and resorting to more extreme tactics. A rival clan must have taken to the trees in an ambush, and when this cat's clan came to fight, one of the hidden rivals jumped down and landed just wrong on their back. I want this injured cat to finally have some rest though, so one of the sides has to have won, and since I want this cat to have a happy ending, their clan came out as the victor. Before I go further, I want to get to the meat of why this video took so long. This cat needs a name, but I don't want to use traditional warriors names for this cat. It's easiest to have warriors names for warriors challenges, but I've been wondering about alternative naming conventions for a while. I do want to preface that I'm white and not at all Native American, but from what I've read about Native American naming conventions, warriors seems to be very much based on this. I do think it makes sense for a name to reflect the person as they change, but since this tradition comes from a group of people with a history of being forcefully stripped of their culture, I don't think it's my place to start taking aspects of said culture. I do really like the fact that their names indicate where a cat is in their life, so I do want some sort of application of that, but I think titles will suffice. Official titles are technically part of a person's name, but not to the degree of a full name change as far as I know. Absolutely let me know if I'm wrong or misguided on any of this. And in the meantime, I'll try working on this naming system. The cat names may still reference nature, as having a name that refers to the world around you is not just a Warriors or Native American tradition. Anyone who's used a baby name website probably knows that names like Frederick and Andrea used to mean things. I believe most cultures have done this, so it makes sense for the cats to do this as well. English names that I know of range from references to seasons like May or April, literal words for things like lily or rose, or concepts like Robert for bright fame and Andrew for man. But I don't want to use these human names. I prefer using fantasy names for this, as I don't want my fantasy battle cats having names like Thomas or Angela. But I do want some sort of foundation for these names so they aren't just random letters thrown together. This is where my rabbit hole starts. For a while now, I've been interested in Conlangs. These are fictional languages that have rules and act like real languages, the most common ones being Klingon and Elvish. These give a fantastical energy to the world while also grounding it with followed rules, and gives ample opportunity to sprinkle in culture in how these words are formed and used. To start building a conlang, you first need to understand the creatures that are speaking. I have to know what sounds cats are able to make, so I know what sounds I'm working with. Thankfully, another person wanted to know this, and made this so much easier to figure out. The Secret Language of Cats: How to Understand Your Cat for a Better, Happier Relationship by Suzanne Schultz has tables of the sounds cats can make with the phonetic symbols best describing them. Phonetic symbols are glyphs that describe sounds in a way that allow you to pronounce any word correctly, and these symbols are going to be vital. This is where things start to get really tricky, since I've spent hours trying to figure out what some of these symbols sound like, and for now, I'm going to have to exclude some because I can't use it if I don't know how it sounds. Some of these sounds aren't even in the English language, so any resources I've found that I can understand don't have auditory examples, which means I likely am pronouncing some of these wrong. If you know of any resources that can help, totally let me know. In total, we've got 13 vowel sounds, which is way more than I thought I'd have to work with, so that's possibly awesome? We'll find out if that's fantastic or cumbersome later. For the last one, I'm going to lump it in with the E like in red and dead, since to me it sounds really similar and I'm not sure what word would need to be this specific sound and not the other one. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, maybe the difference is more noticeable in other accents. Next are the consonants. Now that we have the sounds, we need words. For this to work, we need rules, but since I've never been good at spoken language, I'm going to have very simple rules. In this conlang, each word consists of one vowel and one consonant. This gives us little units of noise that can be words. From these words, we can make more with compound words, and hopefully this will be enough, and if not, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. After all that, it's time to make some words. To start, I want to figure out important words that every language has, and one I think most humans learn first: mom. It should be easy to say, so short and using easily pronounceable sounds. I think a kitten mewling would be a good basis for this, so the cat word for mom will be mew. Another quickly learned sound that cats can make is a meow, so I think that should be something equally important. I'll have that be help, so meow is help. I'll carry on like this to make my words, but for now I'm going to switch gears to words that can be used for names. As I mentioned before, names mean something, whether a concept, object, or trait. This means I have some direction when making names. And I'll be adding to my fictional cat dictionary at the same time. For this cat in particular, I want their name to reflect the bright orange in their pelt and be a hopeful glimpse into them bringing pride to the clan. A lot of languages have masculine, feminine, and neutral words, but these always confuse me and I don't understand how they came to be. So instead, words are going to have color connotations. The word for pride has orange associated with it, coming from legends of orange cats being either extremely prideful or doing amazing things, and how bold the color is compared to the muted forest tones. Even a muted orange stands out amongst greenery, and so too does a prideful cat. Pride usually means a person is happy with themselves, so I'll have the noises used be those while purring. More will be pride, or to be prideful. I'll have to dive further into this cat and the language in another video because this is way too long, but for now, this is more. The next cat for this challenge will have to wait for another video since more took up so much time, but I also had an idea for them as soon as I saw their AI generated image. If you like how I explained my process, I'll be sure to include that in my next video as well. In the meantime, thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. Bye!